Hi everyone, it's Darlene. Welcome to this week's card. Today I'm going to show you how to make this pop-up. It's got an embossed outside. I try to make it really simple on the outside. And then you open it up and it's got the tree and the cute little owls on the branch. Today I'm using the Clearly Besotted Owl stamp set, which is really cute because you can sort of build your own owl. And as soon as I saw this, I had to get it. It's got a matching die right here, and I use a template to help with the stamp. And I'm also using My Favorite Things. I found this branch, which I've been looking for a branch for a long time, and I really like this one. It's by My Favorite Things. It's called Branch with Leaves. And then I'm going to be using also My Favorite Things. This is a wood grain stamp. And what I like about it is that it's 6 by 6. So if you're making a card this way, you can use it. And if you're making a card that way, you can use it. So it works in either direction. And I know I've had to like repeat whenever I use my wood grain, and so this one I don't have to do that anymore. I like that. The card is actually 4 1/4 by 4 1/4, so it's a square card. I usually don't make odd size cards. I usually make A2 cards, but this one's square. The only other thing I want to show you, I'm using this tiny stamp, or Tiny Star background by Hero Arts. I've used this so much, and it's kind of hard to get, so if you see it online, you should buy it. And I used it to make these stars back here. So anyway, let's get started.
Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is take a piece of 4 1/4 by 8 1/2 inch cardstock. I've measured the center point, and then I've measured 1 inch out from the center point on both sides. So I've got this 2-inch area in the center, and I'm taking some Simon Says Stamp chocolate chip, dark chocolate chip ink, and I'm going to use my ink applicator, and it's going to go on really blocky and splotchy, but this ink will even out after a few minutes and it'll look great. So I'm going to take another piece of the same size. I'm going to do the front and back of that piece, and this is going to be the outside of the card. Now I'm also going to color the inside, and you'll see why in a minute, because this is where my pop-up is going to show the layer behind it, and I don't want it to be white. So for all of these pieces I'm using VersaFine Black Onyx ink, and I'm using that My Favorite Things wood grain. And then I'm going to clear emboss it so it's nice and shiny, heat it to set it. And you can see when I rip it off, it's just really nice clean line, and I love the grain of this stamp. It's really nice. Okay, so I'm going to take this other piece and I'm going to do the front and the back because I wanted the outside of the card to be really simple. So there I am doing one side, and I'm going to do the other side. Same exact process. Alright, so I've got my outside piece with the inside colored chocolate chip, and then the inside piece with the tree on it. So I'm going to score it in the center and fold it over. I'm going to make sure I really press it down. And now I'm going to create the pop-up. And to do that, I'm going to measure 1/2 inch in from both sides and 1 inch up. So 1 inch, I'm going to draw my lines there. 1 inch and 1/2 inch, and I'm going to use my scissor to cut right up to that 1 inch mark, and that's all. And I'm going to carefully fold it over. Now there's no score line here, so you have to just kind of fold the paper, and it's kind of thick, so you're going to fold it over. This is Nina Solar White cardstock, by the way. And I'm going to use my bone folder to really press it down, and then I'm going to unfold it and open my card. And now I'm going to take that middle piece, I'm going to push it in the opposite direction so that it folds toward the inside of the card. And then I'm going to fold it down so you see here from the side, and really press down hard on it. Use my bone folder, and this is your pop-up. Alright, next step is to mask off the tree that I just created, and I'm going to stamp my Tiny Stars background with some Memento Luxe Dandelion. This is a pigment ink, so it's going to stay wet long enough for me to heat emboss. So after I get my ink on there, notice I do all of my background stamps upside down. So I do paper to stamp rather than vice versa, just because it's easier. Alright, so I'm going to sprinkle it with some clear embossing powder, and I'm going to heat it to set it. Now, because I've clear embossed it, it's going to resist ink. So I've got some Faded Jeans Distress ink in my ink applicator. I'm going to just put a very light layer of this blue ink because I don't want it to be too dark. I just kind of want it to be kind of a brighter sky, even though it's dark. And this blue Faded Jeans is just the perfect color for that. I really like the color of this blue. Alright, I cut 3 branches actually out of Neenah Solar White cardstock, and I glued 2 of them together so it would be a little bit sturdier for the pop-up. And I'm going to color both sides using a sponge dauber and that same chocolate chip ink. And then I'm going to do the same exact thing I did with the other pieces, which is black VersaFine ink, clear emboss. Alright, next I'm going to stamp my owl using Memento Rich Cocoa ink on some Neenah cardstock. I've got the outline and then the eyes. And now the coordinating die for this owl is a solid die. So what I've done is I've cut a template out of some sturdy cardstock. I just used some watercolor paper. And I'm going to line my template up on my stamped image and secure it in place with just some masking tape. You can't cover the image, I had to move that. And then when you take your die and place it in there, it'll fit right into the groove of the cutout. And then you can put some more masking tape on top and run it through the Sizzix. Now when you come back, you'll see, I take all these pieces off, that the owl was stamped just right around the image. Just like that. So anyway, just a little tip there for you. Now I'm going to stamp the rest of these owls. I'm going to actually have 2 owls and 1 just outline image. I'm going to color them in, so I'm using E31, 34, and 39. And I'm going to use my dark color first. I'm going to color around the edges where the shadow is going to be and just kind of feather it inward. I'm going to have a little bit of a bigger shadow on the left just because my shadow always seems to come from my right. It's just my habit. And then I'll come in with the medium color and I'm going to color over the dark but a little bit further out. So that way it blends with the dark and then it covers more of the white area. And I'm moving up from the bottom as well. And I'm going to take the E31, which is my lightest, and I'm just going to create the light reflection off his belly. And then I blend that back in with my medium color. And I'm doing this a little piece at a time because I like the ink to stay wet so I can blend it a little bit better. So I just do it 1 piece at a time. Okay, so the arms are going to be just 2 colors each, and I'm not going to do much feathering or blending just because it's just such a small area. Alright, now I'm going to work on his head, and what I did here was I did the light reflection first, which is what I should have done on his body. I just didn't think about it. So I'm going to do the light reflection first, then start in with the same technique where I'm coming in with my dark color first around the edges. I'm going to create a little bit of a neck there for him. Do this on both sides, and notice that I keep rotating my paper because I like to flick my pen upward. So when I have to change direction, I just flip my owl over. So I'm going to do dark first, then medium. It's kind of hard to get that feathering in when the area is so small because it'll be easy to go outside the lines if you're doing that. So just kind of making a solid blend is fine in these small areas. I'm still working with my medium here. And then finishing out with my light. Now there is going to be a little bit of a shadow underneath his eyes and his beak, so I'm going to use my medium color under there and then blend the rest out with the E31, which is my lightest. And I just add a little bit more dark shadow at the top. It's kind of a process. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do is create his feathers. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 0, which is the colorless blender, and when you push down on the paper, it pushes the color away. So I'm just going to kind of go down for maybe a second or 2 and then lift up my pen. So kind of 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2. So hold it down for a second and a half and then lift. And kind of angle it down so you get the shape of a feather, and then you're going to alternate so that it's kind of like a checkerboard. And so the feathers are actually taking color away. So you can see how that works there. Alright, now I'm just going to finish out by coloring the rest of these. I'm just going to color his claws there, E34, and his nose E31, so the same colors I used on the feathers. And then for his eyes, I'm going to do YR24 around the edges. It's going to be kind of my darker area. And then the Y21 to fill it in. Alright, now I'm going to color this guy the exact same way. Now for this third one where I just stamped the image, it's going to be the back of the owl. So I'm just going to color the whole thing, no eyes or anything, it's just the back of his head, the back of his back. And I realized that I have kind of those bird claws in the front and the back, so I'm just going to color those dark and just forget about it. So I think it's going to be fine. Alright, next I'm going to stamp a little heart. It's just Memento Luxe Love Letter, and color it in with a Stampin' Up! Marker. Just a little heart stamp that I had from the Filled with Love Simon Says stamp set. And now I'm going to glue my owls together. I'm just going to use some Tombow Mono Multi Glue. And I'm going to put glue on both the front and the back. And then I figure out where I want to place this guy on the front. And then I just put the back right behind it. So the branch is actually in between my two owls. And then I'm going to trim that excess piece off, that branch. Alright, now I'm going to cut a hole to put my branch into. I'm just going to use an X-Acto knife and just cut a slit. And then I'm going to just push my branch right in there. And once I figure out where I want it to go, I'm just going to take some more glue, put it on the edge, and then just close it up and kind of squeeze it shut so it sticks there. And then I took an extra piece of scratch paper and just put it over there with some tape runner, just to make sure that it didn't move. Now this other branch is just going to lay flat on the inside of the card, and so I trimmed off some of the branches. I'm just going to apply it again with some glue, straight to the card. And then I decided I wanted to curve the edges, so I'm taking my Simon Says Stamp A2 die, and I've got it marked like I pointed to with my pencil in the middle, so I just place it right there in the center. My camera turned off and I'm talking right now, but I curved the edges and I put the sentiment on there, which is the Lawn Fawn Lucky Stars. And now I'm just going to take my Dandelion Memento Luxe ink, and I'm going to just color the edge there on the outside portion of the card. And now it's time to put the two pieces together. I'm going to put some tape runner on the inside piece on both sides. And then I'm going to line them up in the center. I'm going to close one side, and then I'll close the other side. Actually, it didn't work so well the first time I did it. It takes a little practice. And then close it. Now there was just a little bit of edge hanging off the white edge, so I just trimmed that out. I wanted to, again, I said I wanted to keep the front really plain. There's this open stamp in the Penny Black embellishment set, so I took that and I just stamped it in some VersaFine ink, and I just trimmed it out to a rectangle and took some glue and just put it on the front, because I kind of wanted all the action to be on the inside of the card. Plus it's a lot of time to decorate the inside and the outside of a card. So I just kept it really simple on the outside. And that's it. That's the whole card. It's 4 1/4 square and it pops up. It's cute. I hope you like it. It's not too bad. It's a lot of steps, but it really didn't take that much time. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.